Today, let me show you some of the really impressive Technic and movement-based MOCs that were on display at Brickfair, Virginia 2022. I apologize if I'm not able to credit every single builder in this video. I'll try my best to, but it is tough when there's so many builders displaying at this convention. I'll have 7 other additional videos covering the other MOCs on display at the convention as well, so stay tuned for those when they come out. But for now, let's take a look at some of these awesome creations. Starting off strong here with a fantastic rotating barrel with these fire pieces at the end there to give it that awesome effect. Epic Bricks did a really great job here. This lovely little MOC here by Elizabeth, complemented nicely by a nice little magma cube from Minecraft there. This uses a really clever technique with some Lego net pieces and then attaching them to different translucent plate pieces and then having some movement underneath it, so it gives it that nice kind of gentle sway of waves and water there. Brilliant technique, and coupled nicely with that awesome waterfall technique behind it there. Lovely work. Awesome to see some of these tennis player minifigures from the collectible minifigure series being put to great use here with this awesome tennis ball technique and the crowd in the background. Really fun MOC. A MOC here which was originally designed by Jason Alleman, otherwise known as JK Brickworks, and we're going to see a few more different models inspired by him across this video here. Yeah, Jason, or JK Brickworks, is the king of movement in LEGO, so it's no wonder a lot of people have built stuff inspired by him here. I'll put a link in the description to some of his stuff. It's definitely worth checking out. This awesome heart design here, also by Jason, but rebuilt by this person here. Lovely to see this juxtaposition of the sort of mechanical and the organic with these gears inside this heart here. One of my favorites is this incredible ostrich MOC here. The movement in this is so lifelike, it's incredible to see, and there's just so much character packed into this. You can immediately get a sense of the personality with this guy, and I don't know, it looks like it's fresh out of a cartoon or something. It's just absolutely incredible to see. I also really enjoy seeing smaller little movement MOCs like this. It's so easy at a big convention like this to get, distracted by the really big stuff. When you see little tiny things with some really impressive techniques or impressive movement to them, much like these, it's really fun. Love the humor in this one here of this guy furiously typing away as he finishes an assignment or something. Very cool. Some other awesome movement here. I struggle to understand exactly how this works here, but really clever kind of magic trick that's going on here. I think it's also really interesting seeing this big old circle at the back here in light bluish grey with these Technic pieces. It's kind of a clever idea just to kind of really bring your attention and sort of add a little almost sort of frame around the MOC. When there's so much on display, little stuff like that can really bring the viewer's attention towards it. It's cool. I love this little skiing MOC here, the way that the landscape's sort of flowing up into it on the side there. That in itself is cool, but obviously the rest of the movement is just as impressive. And once again, no idea how it's done, but it's super cool to watch. It's very interesting. Some other very cool Technic MOCs here. Really cool to see different ways that people have applied movement to different things. And we'll see a few more coming up here with different sort of Mindstorms elements and other sort of official Lego motors and stuff. And I think that's one of the really impressive things about pretty much every single one of these MOCs is that they're, for the most part, always using official Lego pieces and motors and different things like that, whether it's Mindstorms or official power functions and stuff like that. It's always really cool to see. Again, a lot of life in this one here with these frogs trying to catch a fly there, and even the movement of the water is very beautiful. It'd be cool to see that sort of applied into a sort of larger landscape MOC or something, because it's really impressive, and it even lit up as well, which was another thing to be impressed by. Another beautiful water technique here using some of these sort of rail door pieces that you see in some city sets and stuff, and another MOC that looked beautiful all lit up here, this sort of jellyfish MOC using different kind of chain pieces for tentacles and stingers and things like that. Really cool. I adore this little froggy with his little tongue poking out. Super cute, and also just a really fun and clever little piece of motion there on the MOC. Very nice. More sort of different kind of Technic Mindstormy sort of stuff like that, and then we move over to this sort of life-size Lego engine. You never know what you're going to see at these sort of Lego conventions. Really unique and really just awesome to see. Some awesome looking Technic stuff as well, different kind of vehicles and different things like that. Very well sculpted, very well crafted, and just lovely to see at the convention. While these ones don't move, they certainly are very impressive, very awesome looking models. And then this MOC here is a sort of working arm and hand that actually sort of opens and closes and stuff like that. Love how he's used all those different colored tube elements there to almost kind of look like veins or something, but I'm sure it also helps to actually add the movement to the fingers as well, but it still looks pretty cool. A different tractor and some other different Technic vehicles here, and this fantastic looking bus. Awesome to see some of these non-official stickers on here just to make it look a little bit more realistic, you know. It may not be technically purist, but it still gets the job done and looks really nice. Let's get into some really crazy stuff now. So some of this is using different computers, and I believe this one here is using AI to type out stories and stuff like that. And then actually, I believe it even printed it off and stuff. It's insane. Really, really cool, and certainly stretching the limits with what you can use with Lego. Let's move over now to some of the Great Ball Contraption stuff. So this was huge. I didn't get to film all of this, but there's different videos of this across the internet there. Definitely check out places like Beyond the Brick and stuff. But yeah, the Great Ball Contraption is essentially just moving all these different balls around this huge area here with some absolutely crazy movement to it. I mean, look at this, using all of these different curved elements to get this awesome sort of like S curve shape thing here. Brilliant to see. So I'm going to cover some of my favorite individual sort of areas of the Great Ball Contraption and just show you some of the stuff that I think really kind of stood out. Here we can see some of these newer gear pieces being used just to kind of drag across those balls and dump them in as they move along. And it's even kind of counting all the different balls that are being placed in there. Very impressive. A Ferris wheel transporting them as well. All sorts of craziness. You often see people getting a bunch of these different balls in lug bulk hoarders and on Bricklink and stuff like that, specifically for these sorts of models. I really liked this one here. So all the balls kind of get loaded into this specific area here, and then once it gets full enough, it then goes down the train track and moves along and gets transported to the next area here. Really, really cool. Really, really clever. Even using a fan here to kind of push the balls along and then get them going into the next area as it sort of rotates around and continues it forward. It's funny because, every LEGO convention you go to pretty much is going to have a Great Ball Contraption. It's kind of a staple for LEGO conventions. And I always love seeing really unique stuff that you don't normally see, because sometimes the Great Ball Contraptions can be repetitive because they have very, very similar models. But, stuff like this here, it really stands out, and it's certainly enjoyable for me when, I've seen a bunch of these to walk around any of them and then spot the new stuff and just be marveled by that. It's always really cool. It can always be fun to see Great Ball Contraption areas being very multicolored, but I always like little ones like this where there's some flowers or a bit more kind of context to it, and I don't know, it almost looks like a mini golf course or something kind of more unique like that. But yeah, always cool and really fun to just walk around these and just sort of follow the balls and watch them move across. It's really, really cool. Even also really nice to see pieces like these sort of like digger elements here in yellow being used to house the balls and move them across. It's also fun to study this and see some of the really clever part usages that are being used here as well. Pretty cool. I like this here, just sort of filling up that red tub, and then when it gets heavy enough, it just drops all the balls down. And I believe this is an Akiyuki contraption here, these sort of grey like claws that are kind of picking it up and moving it across. Akiyuki is another YouTuber that you can check out, and he builds a lot of these Great Ball Contraptions, and you often see them at these conventions as well. Really, really jealous of this monorail. Monorail is super expensive, and you often see it at conventions too. People who are lucky enough to have been able to have got it when they were younger or afford it now. It's cool to see. Love this one here. So you can kind of give this controller to the kids or anyone else who's there, walking past, and they get to, sort of move this little remote control guy around and move the balls so that, the people who are there can kind of be a part of the Great Ball Contraption in some way. So love that kind of audience participation. That's just a bit of fun, isn't it? So that's pretty much the end of this video here. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the different MOCs that had movement or some sort of, Technic functionality to them in this video here. And stay tuned for more fun stuff from Brickfair, Virginia. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.